Shaki Vrinde Vigyapti. Prayer to the Shakis from Prarthana by Narottama Dasa Thakura. Who's a good mridanga player? Who's the best mridanga player? Huh? Sorry? He said he can. Give him mridanga. Excuse me. Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala Kishore Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala Kishore Jivane Marane Gati Nahi Mo Kalindira Kulikeli Kadambaravan Ratana Bedira Upar Boshabudujan Shama Goryang Diba Chandaneragan Ratana Bedira Upar Boshabudujan Chamara Dulabokabe Hare Mukha Chandra Katiyamala Tirmala Dibodo Hargale Adare Tuli Odibo Karpura Tambuli Lalita Vishaka Adi Jata Shaki Vrinda Yagyaya Karibo Seva Charanaravinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasaranudas Seva Abhilasa Kore Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a song by Narottama Dasa Thakura. The divine couple, Sri Radha and Krishna, are my life and soul. In life or death, I have no other refuge but them. In a forest of small kadamba trees on the bank of the Jamuna, I will seat the divine couple on a throne made of brilliant jewels. I will anoint their dark and fair forms with sandalwood paste scented with chua, and I will fan them with a chamara whisk. Oh, when will I behold their moon-like faces? After stringing together garlands of malati flowers, I will place them around their necks, and I will offer tambula scented with camphor to their lotus mouths. With the permission of all the Shakis headed by Lalita and Vishaka, I will serve the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Narottama Das, the servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, longs for this service to the divine couple. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Ballabha Giribharadhari Jai Gopi Jana Ballabha Giribharadhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Balaba Giri Baradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Balaba Giri Baradhari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvrajagacharya Astatar Sadashi Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulasi Maharani Ki Sri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Sri Sri Radha Balaba Ki Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Sri Sri Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 22, Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. Text 18. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tasyanu Shinvato Rajan Prahradasya Kritanjale Hiranyagarbho Bhagavan Uvacha Madhusudanam Shri Shuka Uvacha Tasyanu Shinvato Rajan Praradasya Kritanjale Hiranyagarbho Bhagavan Uvacha Madhusudanam. Ladies, Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Tasya of Prahlad Maharaj, Anushinvataha, so that he could hear. Rajan, O King Parikshit. Praradasya of Prahlad Maharaj, Krita Anjali, who was standing with folded hands. Hiranyagarbha, Lord Brahma. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Uvacha, said. Madhusudanam, unto Madhusudana, the personality of Godhead. Shukadev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, Lord Brahma then began to speak to the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the hearing of Prahlad Maharaj, who stood nearby with folded hands. No commentary here. Text 19. Badham Viksha Patim Sadvi Tat Patni Bhaya Vivala Pranjali Pranato Pedrang Bapase Van Mukinripa. But Bali Maharaj's chaste wife, afraid and aggrieved at seeing her husband arrested, immediately offered obeisances to Lord Vamanadev Upendra. She folded her hands and spoke as follows. Purport. Although Lord Brahma was speaking, he had to stop for a while because Bali Maharaj's wife, Vindyavali, who was very agitated and afraid, wanted to say something. I'll just continue and we'll hear what she said. Shri Vindyavali Ruvacha Kridartamatmana idam tri jagat kritam te svayam tu tatra kudiyo parisha kuryu kartu prabhos tava kim asatya avahanti chakva hariyastvad avaropita kartrivadha. Srimati Vindyavali said, O my Lord, you have created the entire universe for the enjoyment of your personal pastimes, but foolish, unintelligent men have claimed proprietorship for material enjoyment. Certainly they are shameless agnostics, falsely claiming proprietorship. They think they can give charity and enjoy. In such a condition, what good can they do for you, who are the independent creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this universe? Purport. Bali Maharaj's wife, who was most intelligent, supported the arrest of her husband and accused him of having no intelligence because he had claimed proprietorship of the property of the Lord. Such a claim is a sign of demoniac life. Although the demigods, who are officials appointed by the Lord for management, are attached to materialistic enjoyment, they never claim to be proprietors of the universe, for they know that the actual proprietor of everything is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a qualification of the demigods, but the demons, instead of accepting the exclusive proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, claim the property of the universe for themselves through demarcations of nationalism. This part is mine and that part is yours, they say. This part I can give in charity and this part I can keep for my enjoyment. These are all demoniac conceptions. This is described in Bhagavad Gita 16:13. Idamadya maya labdham imam prapsye manoratam. Thus far I have acquired so much money and land. Now I have to add more and more. In this way I shall be the greatest proprietor of everything. Who can compete with me? These are all demoniac conceptions. Bali Maharaj's wife accused Bali Maharaj by saying that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead had arrested him, showing him extraordinary mercy, and although Bali Maharaj was offering his body to the Supreme Lord for the Lord's third step, he was still in the darkness of ignorance. Actually, the body did not belong to him, but because of his long-standing demoniac mentality, he could not understand this. He thought that since he had been defamed for his inability to fulfill his promise of charity, and since the body belonged to him, he would free himself from defamation by offering his body. Actually, however, the body does not belong to anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom the body is given. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:61, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshir arjuna tishtate Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantarudhrani mayaya. Yantarudhrani mayaya. The Lord is situated in the core of everyone's heart, and according to the material desires of the living entity, the Lord offers a particular type of machine, the body, through the agency of the material energy. The body actually does not belong to the living entity, it belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Under the circumstances, how could Bali Maharaj claim that the body belonged to him? Thus, Vindyavali, Bali Maharaj's intelligent wife, prayed that her husband be released by the Lord's causeless mercy. Otherwise, Bali Maharaj was nothing but a shameless demon, specifically described as Chaktva Riyas Tvad Avaropita Kartrivada, a foolish person claiming proprietorship over the property of the Supreme Person. In the present age, Kali Yuga, the number of such shameless men who are agnostics, disbelieving in the existence of God, has increased. Trying to defy the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so-called scientists, philosophers, and politicians manufacture plans and schemes for the destruction of the world. They cannot do anything good for the world, and unfortunately, because of Kali Yuga, they have plunged the affairs of the world into mismanagement. Thus, there's a great need for the Krishna consciousness movement for the benefit of innocent people who are being carried away by propaganda of such demons. If the present status quo is allowed to continue, people will certainly suffer more and more under the leadership of these demoniac agnostics. So, Sukadev Goswami, I'll read the English again. Sukadev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, Lord Brahma then began to speak to the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the hearing of Prahlad Maharaj, who stood nearby with folded hands. But Bali Maharaj's chaste wife, afraid and aggrieved at seeing her husband arrested, immediately offered obeisances to Lord Vamanadev Upendra. She folded her hands and spoke as follows. Srimati Vindyavali said, O my Lord, you have created the entire universe for the enjoyment of your personal pastimes, but foolish, unintelligent men have claimed proprietorship for material enjoyment. Certainly they're shameless agnostics, falsely claiming proprietorship. They think they can give charity and enjoy. In such condition, what good can they do for you, who are the independent creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this universe? So Lord Brahman was about to speak in glorification of the Supreme Lord Vamanadev, but Bali Maharaj's wife, out of her great anxiety, has as it were, jumped the queue. She's jumped ahead of Lord Brahma, which could be perhaps considered, to be a breach of etiquette. But anyway, the lady should not be blamed. She was in anxiety, and she also expresses some deep understanding of the situation. She's obviously a very close associate of Bali Maharaj, so she understands his demoniac mentality and expresses it very nicely here. I was just reflecting in the purport. Prabhupada says, actually, the body does not belong to anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom the body is given. It reminds me of conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami. When Sanatana Goswami came from Vrindavan to meet Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri, he contacted some skin disease on the way in the Jharakanda forest, and there were sores all over his body which were oozing pus. So when he came into the presence of Lord Chaitanya, he stayed at a distance, but seeing him, Lord Chaitanya came forward to embrace him. Sanatana was backing away, but the Lord forcibly embraced him. Then, the Lord was expressing his joy at seeing Sanatana Goswami and requested him to stay with Haridas Thakur. Being born in a Muslim family, Haridas couldn't enter into the Jagannath temple. So when Sanatana and Rupa Goswamis would come to Jagannath Puri, and Lord Chaitanya would ask him to stay with Haridas Thakur, they would offer obeisances to the chakra on top of the temple, which is considered non-different from the Lord. Sanatana, of course, was also the chief minister in the government of Nawab Hussain Shah. So he also, was considered a fallen down. His name was Shakira Malik. Shakira Malik. It's a Muslim name. In the Hindu society at the time was very rigid. There's also a pastime mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita concerning a devotee called Subudhi Rai, who was a zamindar, very wealthy person. And previously, before Nawab Hussain Shah became the ruler of Bengal, he was engaged in the service of Subudhi Rai. So they were digging a pukur, in Bengal they dig these deep pukurs so that there's, water for people to bathe and to wash their clothes and so forth. And at the same time, that earth which is lifted out, they used to raise up land where they put their, mud brick homes, to raise them so hopefully they won't be flooded in the rainy season. But as we know in Bengal, often the water rises very high, even their homes become flooded. But they try to avoid it as much as possible. So anyway, they were digging a pukur, and many workers were carrying the earth up and lifting it up and raising the land beside. And the Nawab, at the time, previously, he was in charge of the activity, and he was made some mistake, and Subudhi Roy hit him with a whip. Later he became Nawab. His wife saw the whip marks on his back. Who did this? She said. Subudhi Roy. He said, you should kill him, she said. So, he said, I can't kill him. He was like a father to me. maybe hit him with a whip, but he had a great affection for Subhuti Roy. So she kept pressing him, at least turn him into a Muslim, she said. So the Hindu society of the time was so rigid that, even if a Muslim sprinkled a little water on a Hindu's head, then he was considered fallen, converted to a Muslim, and he was outcasted from the Hindu society. Subhuti Roy, to pacify his wife, he agreed. Sprinkle a little water on Subhuti Roy's head. So then Subhuti Roy, he approached some brahmanas for advice. What should I do? How can I, counteract this? And they advised him to drink boiling ghee, give up this body. Next life you can be born again as a Hindu. He asked a few brahmanas, they gave him the same advice. So then he went to Lord Chaitanya. So the Lord said, no. He said, you don't have to do that. He said, just go to Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna and serve the Vaishnavas there. So when he followed that advice, he gave up his, vast property and went to Vrindavan and lived very humbly. He collected firewood in the forest and he would take it to the market and he would make a few paisa profit, and then, he would, whatever he needed for his maintenance, he would use, and the balance he would save for serving the Vaishnavas. So whenever Bengali Vaishnavas would come there, he used to give them oil massages, mustard oil massages, this very great favorite of Bengali people. In the winter time, they love to cover their body with mustard oil, and they'll take cold bath, from the hand pump or in the pukur. You don't feel the cold. Srila Prabhupada himself, he very much liked that, to take oil massage every day around noontime. And after that, and it also makes the body golden. Prabhupada's body he was very effulgent, of course, but his body was also golden from that mustard oil massage. And after that, he would have his bath, and then he would have his lunch. So in this way, Subhuti Roy followed Lord Chaitanya's advice and became purified. So anyway, Sanatana Goswami also, he had been outcasted, so he couldn't go into Jagannath temple. And every day Lord Chaitanya would come to visit Haridas and Sanatana. He would have his noon bath, and he would go to the temple for darshan. And usually after that he would take prasadam. But he would also come and visit them, bringing some Jagannath prasadam for them. And every day he would embrace Sanatana. So Sanatana was feeling, he was feeling very bad. He thought, I came here for my purification, but I'm just committing offenses. This pus is touching the Lord's body. This is very abominable. It's offensive on my part. So he always tried to back away and avoid the Lord's embrace, but the Lord would forcibly embrace him. So then Sanatana thought, it's better I commit suicide. I can, at the Rath Yatra festival, I'll fall down under the Rath Yatra cart. So the cart will pass over me and I'll go back to Godhead, I guess. He was thinking like that. It's very auspicious. I believe once here in Australia, Rath Yatra cart passed over some lady, isn't it? Sydney, huh? She left her body. She left her body, isn't it? Yeah.
They wouldn't let us take the cart on the parade.
They wouldn't let you take the cart?
Wouldn't let us take the cart on the parade. So
After
we just did Hare Nam
that
day.
So anyway, Lord Chaitanya understood what he was thinking. And he said to Sanatan, he said, acts like suicide are in the mode of ignorance. He said, your body is my property. You have surrendered to me. He said, I have to stay here in Jagannath Puri by the order of my mother. As we know, he wanted to go to Vrindavan after taking sannyas. But by some tricks, he was wandering on the bank of the Ganga thinking to be the Yamuna, but by some tricks, Nityananda told him this is actually Jamuna. And then suddenly Advaita Acharya appeared in a boat. So Nityananda said, please get in, have a seat. Let's cross over. So Lord Chaitanya was somewhat agitated. You know, you've tricked me. But Advaita said, no, it's actually correct. You know, the Yamuna and Ganga are flowing together. So that side he was wandering on what would be, I guess, the western side. And that side is, you know, technically one can say that's Jamuna. They meet at Prayag Raj. So Ganga is coming from a more northeasterly direction, while Jamuna is coming from a more northwesterly direction. So if you just consider they're flowing together, then Yamuna would be on the western side when it reaches Bengal. So technically, one can argue like that. Anyway, the Lord got in the boat. They went across to Shantipur, Advaita Acharya's home. And there Advaita Acharya hosted the Lord for, I think, 10 days or so. And all the devotees of Navadip, they also came there, including Mother Sachi. And Mother Sachi got the chance to cook for the Lord for the last time. Although it is, you know, also stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that in his Avirbhav feature, the Lord always appears in Mother Sachi's house whenever she makes an offering to the deities. He comes there and he takes the offering. And sometimes she becomes bewildered, seeing the offering plate empty. Did I actually offer, you know, did I actually put some foodstuffs on the plate or not? So like that, you know, by the Lord's transcendental potency, she becomes bewildered in ecstatic love. And the three other places, of course, where the Lord appears in Avirbhav feature, in the home of Srivas Thakur, whenever there is Sankirtan, then again in the places where Lord Nityananda is dancing ecstatically, and in the home of Raghava Pandit, who was a very great Vaishnava, lived near Panihati. When there was Panihati festival, Lord Nityananda came with his associates, and Raghunath Das organized Chiradahi Utsav, the festival of chipped rice and yogurt. Then after, Lord Chaitanya also appeared there in his Avirbhav feature. Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya were moving through the crowds of devotees, and they were feeding each other with chiradahi. So he's mentioned that some devotees could see it and some couldn't. I mean, those who were especially pure and elevated could see that. But after the festival, then Lord Nityananda went to the home of Raghava Pandit, and he took prasadam there. So it is said that he was such a strict worshipper of the Lord. Once he went to the market, he bought some coconuts, dabs, still on the stem. I guess he was carrying them. And as he entered the house, he touched, the top of the door frame. So then he decided, I've become contaminated. The coconuts are contaminated. I cannot offer them to the Lord. So then he went and bought more coconuts. But anyway, he was a very pure Vaishnava, so must have been exceptionally pure for Lord Chaitanya to regularly appear there in his Avirbhav feature. So anyway, there at Shantipur, that was the last time Mother Sachi actually got to physically cook and for the Lord. And she requested the Lord, Vrindavan. He wanted to go to Vrindavan. It's too far away. I won't get news of you. It's dangerous in those days to travel to Vrindavan. There's also a related story of one of the pastimes of the Lord with Jagadananda Pandit. The Jagadananda Pandit, who was formerly Satyabhama in Krishna Lila. And he was a childhood friend of Lord Chaitanya. They would quarrel in a classroom, and he wrote a book called Prem Vivarta, which means, love, ecstatic love in a contrary mood, like Satyabhama would quarrel with Krishna, and Krishna would relish that. But not all the wives had that nature, by far. Rukmini was a very submissive wife. Once Lord Krishna tried to agitate her by, picking a quarrel. You're very young, beautiful, while you're still young, you should take the opportunity to look for another husband, because I'm not qualified. I'm a bit of a rascal. He was joking with her like that, and she didn't answer back. She fainted. And Krishna had to revive her and, seat her and fan her and pacify her in this way. So anyway, Jagadananda, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. Previously Lord Chaitanya had sent him to Bengal to give Mother Sachi news of him regularly. So that was a desire of Mother Sachi, that she would get that, long distance association with the Lord, hearing from the Vaishnavas. So anyway, Jagadananda was often associating with Lord Chaitanya. There are many nice pastimes in the Antya-lila, how he brought, sandalwood oil from Navadip, Shivananda Sen, and he made the oil. It was 16 seers of oil, and that's a lot of oil, it's might have 14 kgs or something. I mean, he brought it to Puri with great endeavor. They were walking all the way. I don't know, maybe he had some assistants helping. And he brought it to Govinda, Lord Chaitanya's servant. Please rub this on the head of the Lord, so the pressure created by bile won't disturb the Lord. And so Govinda offered it to the Lord, and the Lord said, I have no use for this, and I'm a sannyasi. If people smell this oil on my head, they'll criticize me. They'll consider I'm a tantric sannyasi who keeps women. So tell Jagadananda, take this oil to the Puri temple and burn it in the lamps. They had no electricity then, so burn it in the lamps. In this way, he said, his endeavor will be fruitful. So he gave it to Jagadananda. Govinda gave it back to Jagadananda. Jagadananda, after 10 days or so, he brought the oil to Govinda. Please offer to the Lord. Again, the Lord refused. And this time, Jagadananda took the pot and smashed it in the courtyard, saying, I never brought any oil from Bengal. Then he locked himself in his room. 3 days, he didn't come out. Finally, Lord Chaitanya had to go and knock, please get up, I want you to cook for me today. So hearing that, Jagadananda got up, took his bath, and began to cook. Meanwhile, Lord went to the temple. Then he came back, and he said, there's a big, array of different preparation. He said to Jagadananda, please sit down here. Let us take prasadam together today. Told Govinda, spread another banana leaf. No, Jagadananda said, I'll take later. He said, I want to give some of your remnants to Ramai and Nandai. They helped me to cook today. And afterwards, I'll take prasadam. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya was taking prasadam. Jagadananda was feeding him more and more and more and more. And he finally had enough for 10 men. And he said, please stop, please stop. So Jagadananda, he was very pleased, of course. Then the Lord went to take rest, and he asked Govinda, please check that Jagadananda is actually taking prasadam. So, Jagadananda gave some remnants to Nandai and Ramai and Nandai, and then finally took prasadam himself, and Govinda saw it. He reported to Lord Chaitanya, yes, he's taking prasadam. Then Lord was able to rest, otherwise his mind was too agitated. But he did say to Jagadananda that even when you cook in an angry mood, he said, the prasadam is very, very delicious. It's more delicious. So anyway, Jagadananda wanted to go to Vrindavan. And he kept asking the Lord, but the Lord kept refusing. He said, if you go to Vrindavan, you just become a beggar and you criticize me. But finally, Jagadananda figured out how to get permission. He asked Swarup Damodar, and then Swarup Damodar made the request to the Lord. Jagadananda has been, longing to go to Vrindavan for so long. Previously, you allowed him to go to Bengal and meet Mother Sachi. So why not let him go to Vrindavan? So finally, the Lord allowed him, but he gave him the advice. He said that it is very dangerous traveling to Vrindavan. There are many dacoits on the road. If they see a Bengali traveling on his own, they'll arrest him. Because the Bengalis are not stout and strong, but they have good brains. Generally in India and even in British time, in the government secretariats, there'll be many, many Bengalis working because they're good brains. But in the army, you won't see. There you see the Punjabis and the Sikhs and the strong persons. So Lord Chaitanya told you have to travel in the company of Kshatriyas. So in this way you can pass through these dangerous areas and you can reach Vrindavan. So anyway, in regards to Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya said to him, he said, I'm staying in Puri by the desire of my mother. And I'm not able to stay in Vrindavan. He said, but I have many works to do in Vrindavan, and I have to do them through you. You've surrendered to me. Your body is my property. He said to Hare Dasa Thakura, he said, this gentleman wants to destroy another's property. Meaning Sanatana Goswami. So he said, I want you to go to Vrindavan, excavate the holy places of pilgrimage. Lord Chaitanya began that work when he did visit Vrindavan for 2 months only. And at that time he discovered where Radhakund is, Radhakund and Shyamakund. But there are many other holy places, many of Lord Krishna's Pastimes, which were lost. There was just a forested area then. So he said, I have to do these works through you, and to write books about devotional service, to establish temples. These are the works that the Goswamis did. Sanatana Goswami, he accepted what the Lord's instruction, and eventually he and Rupa Goswami, they wrote so many books. Sanatana wrote what, Hari Bhakti Vilas, Brihat Bhagavatamrita. Rupa Goswami wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, many dramas, Lalita Madhava, Vidagdha Madhava, Sri Upadeshamrita. So big literary output. And also their nephew, the son of their brother, Jiva Goswami, of course, he wrote so many important literatures, Satsandarbhas and many other books. And they also established many beautiful temples there. Jiva Goswami, of course, established Radha Damodar, where Srila Prabhupada lived for so many years. And Rupa Goswami established Govindaji Mandir, and Sanatana Goswami established the Madan Mohan Mandir. So they accomplished all the, desires of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, Lord Chaitanya was coming and embracing Sanatana. And then one day he embraced him, and all Sanatana's sores disappeared. And Lord Chaitanya, and his body became golden and beautiful. Lord Chaitanya said to him, I do not think your, body is obnoxious, he said. He said, I am embracing you for my purification. So, in this way, we see how Lord Chaitanya held Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami in such high esteem. Thus they became such important acharyas in our sampradaya. So yes, our body, as it said here, the body does not belong to anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whom the body is given. Okay, I'll finish here. Any comments or questions? Yes.
In the purports, Prabhupada was explaining how the body and the universe in general is for the pleasure of the Lord's pastimes. But I thought that Krishna doesn't actually derive any pleasure from the material world, and in the Brahma Samhita it says that Krishna never associates with his external energies. So how are we to understand that the body in the material world is for the Lord's pleasure?
Yes. Once I remember being in Prabhupada's room in Berry Place in London, and he said that material means forgetfulness of Krishna and spiritual means remembrance of Krishna. So if material things, including the body, are used in the service of Krishna, they're considered to be spiritual. So when the Lord comes to the material world, he comes to enjoy his pastimes with his devotees. And well, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So to enliven the devotees, uplift the pious persons, enliven the devotees, and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. And Prabhupada says that, you know, annihilation of the miscreants is a secondary matter. The primary matter is to enliven the devotees, inspire the devotees, and associate with the devotees, and enjoy his pastimes with the devotees. And of course, he also annihilates demons for the protection and pleasure of his devotees. So, you know, there are so many amazing pastimes of annihilating demons, like Nrsimhadev and Nrsimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu and Braha killed Hiranyaksha. Soon it will be, isn't it, Braha Dwadashi, I think, next Sunday. I don't know here in Melbourne what day it will be. Not sure. The calendars may be different in different places. But anyhow, Krishna is, you know, it's an extension of the spiritual world when Krishna comes here to enjoy his pastimes. And it is mentioned, I think it's by Vishwanath Chakravarti, that the Krishna sometimes likes to fight, but in a spiritual world there are no demons, there's no one to fight with. I mean, there are cowherd boys, there's some bantering and, you know, light-hearted, you know, fighting, wrestling and so forth, but that, you know, that is not a real battle. So if Krishna wants to have a real fight, he has to come to the material world, which is one of the reasons that Jai and Vijay, you know, they chose 3 births as demons instead of 7 births as devotees when they were cursed by the 4 Kumaras at the gates of Vaikuntha. So one of the reasons was to come back to Vaikuntha more quickly, but the other reason was to, you know, take on such bodies that were so demonic and so powerful that they could defeat the demigods, as in this case also, Bali Maharaj had defeated the demigods. So to protect his devotees, yes, but also to have a good fight. So in this case, it's not a fight, of course, but in the case of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, there's a real battle, and it was entertainment also for the demigods. Sometimes the demon appeared to get the upper hand, everyone was in anxiety, but then again, finally the Lord effortlessly killed these demons, but he had that enjoyment of having a good fight. But generally, he's coming, you know, to associate with his loving devotees, and the spiritual world become manifested here on this planet also, as in Sri Vrindavan Dham and other holy places where the Lord appeared. Hare.
There's an English saying, proprietorship will turn sand into gold. So the idea is the concept of ownership actually helps maintain and improve things. So how do we, you know, look upon that idea in Krishna consciousness where we don't have much sense of proprietorship, or we shouldn't according to the verse, have practically none.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the devotee understands everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is given to us by Krishna. We come into this world with nothing, and we're going to leave it with nothing also. But still, Krishna does give, people possessions according to their capacity. But a devotee, obviously a householder has to work and acquire money to maintain wife and children, and that requires, house, and in the modern world, I guess, car, etc. So the householder should see ultimately everything belongs to Krishna, but he should also take some pride in his own family, his own possessions, and look after them nicely for the service of Krishna. And those who are, brahmacharis who are living in the temple, well, they may also have their, small possessions, whatever, their mobile phone or their, clothes or whatever. So they should look after them nicely. And the body also, not to be neglectful. Prabhupada said health is important. So devotees should take care of the health, take care of whatever possessions they have, and try to use them nicely in the service of Krishna, but not become overwhelmed trying to accumulate, vast quantities of wealth and forget Krishna. That's the main point, Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So personal possessions have a place in that grander scheme of things. And we shouldn't over-endeavor, but at the same time, we have to make some endeavor. We shouldn't be lazy fellows doing nothing. So to find the right balance in Krishna consciousness. Yes, this is Keshav Maharaj. We welcome him. Yeah. Are you lecturing this evening? Tomorrow, yeah. So we welcome His Holiness Keshav Maharaj here to Melbourne, Mahaprabhu Mandir, and to Australia. You've been before, have you? No, first time, so most welcome. Many nice temples in Australia. Beautiful deities. These deities were all installed by Srila Prabhupada. So I believe it's the 50th anniversary this year of the installation of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai. So yeah, this is a holy place. You have seen Prabhupada's room upstairs? Yeah. So most welcome. Thank you for coming and to inspire the devotees and the congregation in Krishna consciousness. Same time, there's a morning class. Maharaj will give the morning class. Yes, notice board outside gives all details. Okay, Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Haribol.